Good day, Summer of Explorers. How you guys doing today? What's that? You can't see me. Ugh, all this technology. Hang on a second. How's that? Just kidding. All right, guys. Glad you're with us today. What we're going to do today is we were challenged with explaining our trades and some of the jobs that are available in the trades. So some of you may have been in the shop before. My name is Mr. Hess. I work at the Schuylkill Technology Centers and is located in Minersville, and I teach the electrical trade. So with that being said, let's just talk about what happened. So the video started. Obviously you couldn't see me. Who would fix that? How would you go about fixing something on a computer? All right. What happens if your lights go out? What happens if we are working day to day in the school and all the power goes out? What do we do next? Okay. What happens if you're in the wintertime, you come in from sleigh riding and you find out it's colder in your house than it is outside? Okay. Who fixes the plumbing? All right, so one thing I did, which it's going to be hard for you guys to understand a little bit now, because you're only in a certain grade. You're not thinking about what you're going to be when you grow up. But what happens is, as you get older, things tend to change a little bit, and you start focusing on what you want to do after you graduate school. Okay? So what I chose to do is when I was in high school, I had a team of guidance counselors that took us through a tour of the Votech. And during that tour of the Votech, I'll be honest with you, I went just for a free day out of school. I just kind of walked into the shops, and lo and behold, I walked into the electrical shop, and it just sparked my interest. Get it? Sparked? Okay. Sorry, dad joke. What I noticed was there was a multitude of students. There was females, there was male students. They were working together. They were making things light up. They were bending stuff. I didn't even know what was going on. But it just seemed to me like something I wanted to do. So when I was in ninth grade, I got to my guidance counselor, and what I did is I rearranged my schedule so that I could attend Votech while I was in high school. Now, a lot of my friends that played football, played sports, they made fun of me. Why do you want to go over there and get dirty and work all day? Well, that's what I like to do. I like to work with my hands. I like to build things. I like to put things back together. Hopefully they work. Sometimes they do. But what happens is, usually people that like to work with their hands, they have to learn with their hands. So I went to Votech, and I went for the 3 years that the high school allowed me to go through. And what I did was I worked from the bottom all the way up. Okay, I worked from the basics of electricity. I hate to say it, guys. Lots of books. Sorry. And look, books with no pictures. Another bad thing. All right. So things like this, people don't see the behind the scenes, so to speak. Sometimes when you watch a movie is 2 hours long. You watch it, it's awesome, you enjoy it, but you don't realize that there was a team of many, many people doing all specific trades behind the scenes. And that movie for 2 hours took actually 1 year to film and edit out and get the final thing that you see in the theater or on Netflix. Okay? Believe it or not, there are electricians on movie sets. Okay, so how cool would that be? You get to hang around with all the big stars and do your job. Okay. Um, One thing at the electrical shop, after I started doing the basics, we teach everybody as if we had no idea how to use any tools. So if your family is not really hands-on oriented and you're nervous about it, don't worry about it. Okay? We will teach you how to do every single job available in the shop. We're going to teach you how to do all the tools, how to use them all. And another big thing in any trade that you choose, safety. Okay? Tons and tons of safety. As I get into some of the jobs that we do later, you could be potentially working with 500,000 volts. That's a lot of zeros. Now, just to give you an idea, when you plug in your cell phone chargers, that receptacle is 120 volts. Okay, 120 compared to 500,000. So, obviously, safety is huge no matter what we're working with in any trade. All right. So, as I worked my way up, I got into what they call residential electrician. And being a residential electrician, what that means is you install receptacles, your lights, your switches, everything that you basically see inside your house. All right. Something as simple as ceiling fans. Okay. A lot of people go to Lowe's, Home Depot, they buy ceiling fans and they have no idea how to install them. All right. So somebody like myself or my students, that's what we do uh, to help out residential homeowners. Um, we can put in the main power coming into your panel. Okay. One job that is residential, and later on I'll explain some more things about it. They're called linemen. Okay. Now I really don't like that term lineman because it makes it sound like you have to be a guy. Okay. Honestly, guys and girls, it does not matter what gender you are. You can do anything. All right. You you can see a house being built, and it's a three-story house, and you're putting shingles on top of the roof. It might be all females up there putting the shingles on. All right. Um, you might see in a hospital a nurse that is generally a female trade. It's a lot more male dominated now. Believe it or not, nursing is looking towards like athletes, like football players and track runners and all that, athletic type people, because when people come in and they're hurt, they have a hard time moving on their own. So you need somebody bigger and stronger to kind of help lift them onto a table, things like that. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is the male female trades, there is no more of that. Okay. Um, I have all females coming into the shop. I have boys coming into the shop. It does not matter. Everybody does the same amount of things. Okay. So don't be afraid to be the guy nurse. Don't be afraid to be a guy and go cut hair and do cosmetology. Believe it or not, we have that in our Votech, and we had, I think, at one time 6 males in that shop. Okay, we're starting to see a lot of crossovers now. A lot of female plumbers, female welders. At one time, oh, probably about 6 years ago, half the population in the welding shop was females. All right, that's amazing. To see something that a female could create. Females are very artistic. Guys, like me, we just make it work. Okay, who cares what it looks like? But what we're finding out now is the females are having an impact on the trade because what they're doing is when they do the job and they do it correctly, it also looks very nice. So then guys are trying to keep up with that. All right, so it's a win-win situation. So what I want you to do as you're seeing all the different trades presented through here is just in the back of your mind, start thinking about possibly what you want to do. Okay, doesn't mean you're going to do it for the rest of your life. Okay, I chose to do it for the rest of my life. I loved it. I'm very passionate about my trade. Um, I love talking to new people. I love having speakers come in. It keeps me energetic, and I love seeing the students that when they graduate and they start buying their own houses and their own vehicles, and making a substantial living, that's fantastic. All right, that's what I really love to see. All right, so we kind of covered the residential electricity part. So then you get into the next phase of the electrical trade, and that is like our second year of VOTech. That is called commercial electricity. And what that is, it's kind of like in between. Um, if you're sitting in a school right now, if you ever walked into a bank with your family, you ever ate out at a restaurant, okay, that's commercial electricity. Of course, you went to Lowe's, Home Depot, the Walmarts, okay, places like that. You obviously see things in there that can be in your home, but you also see things in there that are generally not seen in a home. All right. You have bigger lights. During the lesson, we're going to go over all that with you. I'm going to go over all the different types of lights. You get into like a little bit more hazardous, higher electricity amounts. So you're kind of in between. All right. Um, Again, a lineman could be a commercial electrician. Okay. You still have to bring power lines from the telephone poles into your home, and you have to bring power lines from the telephone poles into your commercial electricity, but it's going to be a higher voltage, okay, a higher amount. So then what I get into, and this is something that I love to do when I was in VOTech, our third year usually consists of what they call industrial electricity. All right. So usually with industrial electricity, just the word industrial makes things sound like they're really big. Okay. Just making sure you're paying attention. It is. Industrial electricity is the humongous factories that you see around us. Okay. Right across the street from our VOTech, we have a company called Tredegar. Now, this is a worldwide company, and it's a plastics manufacturing company. They do all different types of components using plastic materials. The really cool part is they bring all their materials in on trains. Okay, they're actually called locomotives. So one thing, if you were ever with me before, I love history. I love learning about old things because it helps you understand the new things. The locomotives, when they come in, they're actually, how they run is diesel electric. Believe it or not, on every locomotive that you see locally now, that you see on the train tracks going by, they have a DC electric motors on their wheels. All right. One of my students just recently got hired by Reading Northern Railroad down in Hamburg, and he is a lineman for that company. The other job that he took on is he's in charge of all the signaling. All right, so all the signaling you see when the bars come down and the lights are blinking on and off, the different lights that come on when the train's approaching, all of that is something that he took on as a responsibility. All right, bet you never thought you could work on trains your whole life. All right, so if you ever played with the little trains that you have for like Christmas time, believe it or not, it's just a bigger version. Okay, same basic principle, just very big. So as you get into the industrial section, I mentioned Tredegar. We have another company that's called Hydro. For those of you that maybe have a family member working with them, it used to be called SAPA. Right, they're down in Cressona. It is the world's largest aluminum extrusion company. So think about that. When people say there's not much in Schuylkill County, we have the world's largest aluminum extrusion company. And what that means is they bring in recycled aluminum that's in chunks and it's a solid. And extrusion simply means they put it in a big melting pot and they melt it and they make it into different items. For instance, they make frames for trucks. They make some body parts for the Ford pickups. They make a lot of interior parts for safety. Here we go again with the safety. It goes into the safety parts for the interior of the vehicles that you can't really see. So if you would take your doors apart, inside there's like kind of like a roll cage or a crash bar, so to speak, and that bar is made out of aluminum to make the vehicle lighter. Okay, plus we can recycle it. That's made right here in Cressona. Right, so It is a humongous company. I have probably 3 dozen students down there working on all aspects of the trades. Believe it or not, I do have a female down there. She was the first female electromechanical technician in the history of Hydro. Okay. Hydro is actually based out of Norway, the country called Norway, uh, and they thought that Cressona plant was something that they wanted to purchase. So when they did, they own everything now. All right. So when you sit down and think about it, Cressona is just one small part of Schuylkill County. We have tons and tons of things in Schuylkill County that you normally don't think of. Everybody says, "Oh, Schuylkill County, there's nothing to do here." If you would sit down and keep your mouth quiet and think, you're going to notice that we have the largest aluminum extrusion company. We also have the largest brewery and the oldest brewery in America, Mr. Yingling. Okay, he donates a lot of stuff to the local schools, local baseball fields, things like that. He's a very down-to-earth man, and he is 100% for the trades. All right, he hired a lot of plumbers, welders, electricians from the Votech over the past 20, 30 years. All right, so when I was in Votech, once I got done the industrial electricity part, I had an opportunity now. You're graduating. What are you going to do? Like my seniors now, they're done school. And now it's go out and get a job. Go to a college. Go to a trade school. Okay, what do you want to do? So again, just think to yourself, what's something that I really enjoy doing? Okay, it doesn't all have to be about money. All right, yes, money is good, but sometimes you want to enjoy your trade more, enjoy what you're doing in life before you get the money. And I'll give you a good example. Me. When I got out, I was very, very lucky in getting a job with a company in Frackville. And I still keep in touch with the gentleman. His name is Mr. John Chawansky. He owned Silicon Power Controls. All right. And in the year 2000, you guys weren't even born yet. In the year 2000, the company Aberell Electric purchased us, and we are one of the largest electrical companies on the East Coast. I still keep in touch with that company, even though I don't work for them anymore. Many, many friends that I have, close friends over the past 30 years, still work for Aberell. That is an industrial electricity company. We did some commercial work, but we were focused on the big power plants, all the equipment inside there. And when we get into the time where we're going to ask questions, feel free to ask about that company and some of the things that I did. Okay. So now I'm working, I'm making money. I was with that company for 16 years, and I just needed a change. Okay. I enjoyed what I did, but I just wanted something different. So what I chose is I kept in touch with my other electrical instructor, my Votech instructor actually, Mr. Joe Reardon. He was retiring, and he said, "Would you want to possibly take over my position?" He said, "I think you'd be a very good candidate." So I kind of thought about it for a while. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever plan on becoming a teacher. Never. So what I'm saying to you, think about what you want to do after high school. Teaching was not even in the realm of what I wanted to do. Okay, I just wanted to get out and build stuff. Come to find out that I had to take a little bit of a pay cut, which means I got less in my paycheck. But teaching is one of the most things that I enjoy out of everything that I've ever done in my life. I do miss working with my hands sometimes, but I enjoy seeing students like yourselves that have no idea about anything, and you just start to the small steps. Okay? You start climbing the ladder slowly, step by 1, 2, 3, and you start getting confidence in yourself, and you start to see some of the things when you turn around and you look, hey, I can actually do that. That's what makes it fun for me. So this is a case where the money is not really that important. Okay, yes, you have to pay your bills, but I really, truly enjoy doing what I'm doing. If I did not, I would not do the Summer of Explorers camp. And I'll be honest with you, if they needed volunteers to do this, I would do it 100%, not even second guess it, because I really enjoy the age group that you guys are, and I really enjoy seeing your faces light up when you can do something. So this year we have a little bit of a task on our hands. With everything happening, okay, we have history in the making. So you're going to be reading about this for a very, very long time in textbooks. Now, people like me and the teachers that are running the Summer of Explorers, we have a new task on our hands. We have to do it remotely. So we are in the wide world of my basement right now, okay, out of the way of my kids so it's quiet. Now I had to learn on how to do video conferencing, how to deal with, keeping videos. I used to yell at my son all the time for being on YouTube. Now I have my own YouTube channel. Go figure. So another thing I wanted to say about the trades is you have to constantly keep up with whatever you decide to do. It doesn't matter if it's teaching, if you're a surgeon, if you're a nurse, if you're an electrician. You have to keep up on your trades. Everything new coming out. Things change all the time. Things are changing a lot faster for you guys at your age than they did when I was your age. Okay? Believe it or not. Now don't judge me. But when I was in 8th grade, we did not have any computers. There was no internet, no eBay, no YouTube, nothing. All right? I actually had typewriter class. So if you don't know what a typewriter is, there's your homework. You have to go look it up on Google. All right? So we had typewriting class. Now, eventually, I went to school at Pottsville. We did get computers in 8th grade. And all they were was simply glorified typewriters. I remember going back to the computer. I typed in my name, Dave Hess. I printed it out on paper about this wide. Okay, it was huge, came in a humongous box. And I remember taking it home to my mom and dad, and I said, "Look what I just did." And they're like, "Congratulations, you typed your name. Good job. We're proud of you." All right. Who would have thought that in a very short amount of time, we are at the point we are at today? If this virus would have hit us back when I was in 8th grade, there was no video conferencing. There was no such thing like that. All right. There was no way to tell a mass group of people of a danger in the society. So we are constantly evolving. Now, everybody has iPhones or some type of smartphone. Okay. As soon as you have that new phone that just came out and you pay a substantial amount of money for it, it's outdated. It's already old. Okay. So things are in a very, very fast pace, which I had to adapt to. It's something that I was not used to. So I had to become fast paced to keep up with everything. Now, your age group, you're lucky because you were born fast paced and you're going to be able to keep up with everything. All right. So you can have a job being an electrical, um, just working on phones, working on computers. Most computers now are built by the students that are in my shop. If you don't like something that's on the shelf and it's not something that you want, you simply buy the pieces and build your own computer, which is awesome that you're able to do that. Years ago, the auto mechanic was simply the guy that was all greasy, had a rag in his back pocket, and he was dressed in overalls. Okay. Now, you're almost like a doctor. You carry a laptop around with a cord, and all the new cars, there's computers. And the car records what the driver did and what happened the time that there was a problem. You plug in your laptop, and it's like you're a doctor. You're just going through the computers, and you're basically asking the patient what's wrong. And the car will talk back to the computer and tell you what's wrong. All right, so it seems like a lot of things are changing just in the old trades that you would normally think about. Okay, welding is done by robots now. So real dangerous jobs are done by robots. So now you have a person that is your age group and they want to program computers. Okay, well, you start off wanting to be a gamer. Okay, doing that kind of stuff, and then as you progress, you realize, hey, I can use my skills for something else. I can write a program for this robot. Okay, so the next time you're on YouTube, don't worry about PewDiePie and all that kind of stuff. All right, look at something like um, large manufacturing companies, how cars are made. It makes my jaw drop when I see how cars are made. Very, very little human contact. It's all robots, it's all production lines, and the cars are getting done safer, they're getting done faster, and they're getting done cheaper. So we're using less materials. So again, the Summer of Explorers, you guys might think it's just some time out to hang out with your friends. Um, Honestly, as one of the instructors, and I'm friends with a lot of the instructors that are doing this course, we really value your age group. We value putting a little seed in there in your brain, so to speak, to kind of get you start growing a little bit. And I'm going to see you again on tours. And when you come through the tours like I did when I was in eighth grade, you might see something like I did. You might walk in and say, man, that's really awesome. That's really cool. I want to try that. All right. Now, again, you might not do it the rest of your life. That's not our goal. Our goal is just to get you involved in something. Okay. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Don't be afraid to tackle new things. If somebody built it, somebody could take it apart and repair it. Okay. I go over everything in my shop as well as all the other instructors. Everything that you're learning, your math at your homeschool, your English, your comprehension of reading something and being able to understand it, you might not think about it, but that's going to help you as you get out into the trades. Okay. Now, I do have students that are out right now and are working on 500,000 volt lines. So when I did the little joke that the power was out, just imagine one day you could be 300 feet up in the air working on live power lines. Now that's something that requires a lot of education, a lot of textbooks, and a lot of safety. We want everybody to go into the job force with everything you were born with, and we want you to live a very long life, enjoy what you do, and retire eventually with everything that you were born with. So we don't want to lose any fingers or toes or things like that. Just recently, I was out in the yard and I heard a helicopter and I couldn't see it. Now, they were not my students, but locally they just put up all new towers, all new pole lines, all new lines and insulators, which we'll talk about. And the last step in that construction job was to have a helicopter. And what they did is they went over the entire power line. They just hovered over everything. And they have special cameras, which we'll talk about, and I'll actually show you one because I went into school and got it for you. They went over with special cameras to see if there's any problems with the power lines now that they're up and running. Okay, so that's a job that you can go for. You can do anything you want. Okay, so I always say to my students, you think about it, you can do it. Okay, you have to understand that every instructor in the Summer of Explorers and every teacher that you encounter from kindergarten all the way up has an impact on you. My favorite teacher in my entire world, besides my Vo-Tech teacher, was my 8th grade science teacher. And the funny part, he lives right down the street from me. Okay? I always tell him every time I see him, you were my favorite teacher. He just got me involved in it. If he was doing a chemical experiment, he's like, let's see what happens. Let's try it. Put chemicals together. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. He was the one that kind of got me interested into just being different. Okay. Not just sitting there listening to different teachers. Okay. Believe it or not, the thing that I'm going to teach you during our interactive video conference is something that I go over, and I do 4th grade science with some of the local school districts. And I do that because it gives you a little bit of power with your family. It's going to teach you how to save money, and it's going to make you a smarter student. Okay? So believe it or not, your entire school line from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade has an impact on your life. Now, I talk a lot about different things you can do in a trade. Now, let's talk about this. What you can also do is you can go to college. A lot of people are pushed towards college, and they go into college and they pick a topic that they have no goals in doing. They're forced into doing it. Okay, you could come to Votech and you could still go to college. There's no problem with that whatsoever. Okay, you can actually go into a trade school, which means you're going to take the electrical trade, plumbing trade, whatever you decided to do, and you could further your education. Believe me, I hate to say this. I'm 47 years old. Who said that? Thank you. Somebody just said I look like I was 20. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You get an A for the day. Yeah, I'll give you a gold star. I'll give you a virtual fist pump. Now, I don't know everything, and I know my limitations, and I tell my students that. But I do know people that could get me the answers. All right. Nobody will know everything about their specific trade. There's people that know a lot more than me, and there's people that know a lot less than me. The thing that we do is we help each other out. Okay. If I have a question, if I was doing something out in a trade, I would get one of my buddies over here and say, "Come on over and help me look at this. And what do you think?" Okay. Two heads together are better than just one. Okay. You can come up with a game plan on how to do things. And you could also become a business owner. I have a couple students that actually own their own business. So you can actually go to a business school and learn the math and the accounting part of it and how to deal with customers. And you can go out and you can have a very, very good business doing that. All right. So don't be afraid to try something different. And what we do at our Votech is, let's say you're interested in, I don't know, the cosmetology shop and machine trades, which actually manufactures metal parts on big machines, and you're just not sure. Okay, I don't know which one I want to go to. We allow you to come over, and we call it job shadowing. You could come over to any shop you want for a day, and you could try it out. Now, what I do is I put you right in the stalls with one of my students, and I tell them, "Here's your shadow for the day." Teach them a little bit, let them do all the work, let them get their hands dirty and get sweaty, and see if they really like it. Okay, it kind of gives you a feel for what you're going to do during that day-to-day operation in the shop. Okay, so I know you're not driving yet, thankfully, but if you were ever going to purchase a car, you're not going to just walk up and buy it. You're going to test drive it. You're going to see if it's really what you like. So the style and the color of the car kind of got your attention, and you're not going to buy it on that alone. You're going to make sure that it's exactly what you want when you're driving it. All right, that's our test drive. We allow you to come into the shop, test drive it, see if it's really what you want to do. Now, if you don't like my shop when you're in it, you can pick the other shop that you wanted to go to, and you can go to that shop for the rest of the day. Okay, don't mind me. I'll probably be hanging on your ankle, crying and screaming, say, "Please don't leave me." But I understand it's maybe it's not for you. All right. So we have the residential, we have the commercial, we have the industrial electricity, we have the powermen. Okay, that's what I like to call them. Okay, we have the line people that go up and work on the line. You can fix anything in a house, anything in your school, your bank, all your maintenance workers you see at your school. They know a little bit about electrical. Some of them know a lot about electrical. Okay. Then you have all the companies that when something breaks, it has to get fixed. All right. So how many of you like Hershey chocolate? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In case you know this by now, I really can't see. I'm just joking with you. But in any case, Hershey chocolate. Everybody loves the chocolate bars. Okay. 2 of my students have the pleasure of working for Hershey chocolate down in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And they have to fix the machines when the candy machines break. Okay, so one cool thing is you can actually go to Hershey Chocolate World and go on the chocolate ride for free. But yes, believe it or not, it's free. Okay, All that ride is all electrical, and it pretty much shows you how the and explains to you how the chocolate is made, okay, and where everything comes from. Now, this man, Milton Hershey, started with nothing. Okay, he kind of started as a kid like you guys are. He wasn't rich at 8 years old. Okay, but he had a vision. He knew what he wanted to do, and he just kept going and going and going. Did he succeed the very first time? No, no, he did not. He failed many times until he finally got everything the way he wanted it, and now Hershey chocolate is shipped all over the entire world. Okay, you see it on movies, you see it on TV shows. It goes out to all our troops that are out, in the military. They love getting Hershey chocolate because it reminds them of home, right? So it's kind of very humble to me that somebody that I taught continued their education with a trade school, went to work for another company, got some hands-on experience, and now they're down at Hershey Chocolate and they're working with a worldwide company and preparing the machines just in case they break or installing new machines. Okay, so on to the good stuff. If you have any questions, just kind of jot them down on a piece of paper, and when we start doing the different classes, the virtual classes, I'll have some time where you can actually, I'll open it up and we'll do some, question and answers. Okay, so think about it, what you want to do. If you think of something, of a trade that you're not sure if we have it at the Botech, just ask me, and I'll let you know if we have it or not. And if not, I'll let you know where you could go to get that. All right? So I'll see you guys very soon. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't mind my virtual office here. Thanks, guys.